Narcissism is one of the most misunderstood psychological patterns we meet in relationships. People often imagine the narcissist as someone simply obsessed with themselves, someone who loves their own reflection too much. But Carl Jung's perspective reveals something far deeper, far more complex, and surprisingly tragic. Jung believed that the narcissistic personality is not rooted in self-love at all, but rather in a profound disconnection from the true self, a spiritual, emotional, and psychological emptiness that the ego desperately tries to hide. To understand narcissism through Jung's eyes, we must begin with his core idea. Every human being carries a persona, the mask we show the world. The persona is how we want others to see us: confident, kind, competent, successful. But behind that mask lies the shadow, the parts of ourselves we deny, reject, or find too painful to admit. In a healthy person, the persona and the shadow remain in dialogue. We remain aware of our flaws, our wounds, our gifts, and our limitations. But in narcissism, this balance collapses. The persona becomes a rigid armor, the only identity the person allows themselves to have, while the shadow is exiled, buried, and denied with relentless intensity. Jung saw narcissism as a survival strategy, not a personality style. It begins when the authentic self of a child is not seen, not valued, or not mirrored with warmth and emotional presence. Instead of learning "I exist and I matter," the child learns "I must perform to be valued. I must hide my needs. I must become what others expect." Over time, the child becomes a performer of identity, a persona without an inner core, and this is the seed from which narcissistic structures grow. A narcissistic person builds an inflated ego to protect a wounded, fragile inner child. This ego is loud, demanding, defensive, and obsessed with control. But the child beneath it remains terrified of rejection and deeply ashamed of their own vulnerability. Jung wrote that the narcissist identifies completely with the persona. That means they mistake their mask for their real identity. Instead of knowing themselves, they defend an illusion of themselves. Instead of seeking connection, they seek validation. Instead of offering love, they demand admiration. And when admiration is missing, they collapse into rage, withdrawal, or silent punishment. Narcissism is not about confidence. It is about compensating for an internal sense of emptiness. Jung would say the narcissist is possessed by their own ego, a kind of psychological inflation that hides inner starvation. They seek attention not because they feel full, but because they feel deeply hollow. They seek control not because they feel secure, but because they feel powerless. And they blame others not because they are strong, but because their inner world is too fragile to tolerate self-reflection. One of Jung's most powerful insights is this: a narcissist cannot tolerate their own shadow. They project it onto others. Whatever they deny in themselves, insecurity, jealousy, shame, weakness, selfishness, they accuse others of having. This is why relationships with narcissistic people feel like walking in a hall of mirrors. You begin to see yourself through their projections. You feel guilty for things you never did. You start to doubt your own perception. Slowly, your intuition becomes blurry. Your boundaries weaken. Their shadow becomes your burden. Here is a quick engagement question for your audience. Have you ever felt like you were carrying emotions that didn't even belong to you? Let me know in the comments. I read all of them. Jung would say that a narcissistic relationship is a psychological trap between two unconscious forces: the inflated persona of the narcissist and the shrinking shadow of the partner. The more the narcissist denies their own flaws, the more the partner begins to absorb them. The narcissist remains clean, and the partner becomes the emotional container for all the dirt the narcissist cannot face. This dynamic is not love. It is a form of possession. Jung believed that a person who refuses to face their shadow becomes controlled by it, and a narcissist is someone entirely controlled by what they refuse to admit. But here is the deeper tragedy. Beneath all the manipulation, all the ego, all the entitlement, all the emotional hunger, lies a terrified, unhealed inner child. A child that was never truly seen. A child that had to build a false identity to survive. A child that learned love is conditional. Jung never approached narcissism with hatred. He approached it with understanding, not to excuse the behavior, but to explain the suffering underneath it. A narcissist is someone stuck at an early stage of emotional development, unable to integrate their shadow, unable to tolerate their humanity. They live behind a glass wall close enough to see intimacy, but too afraid to touch it. This is why narcissists repeat the same cycles in every relationship. Idealize, devalue, discard. They fall in love not with people, but with reflections of themselves. The moment a partner becomes real, with needs and feelings, the illusion breaks. And when the illusion breaks, the narcissist feels threatened. They attack, avoid, withdraw, or punish not because they are evil, but because their ego has no flexibility. Jung would say their persona cracks, and they panic. Jung believed that the path to healing narcissism is the same path required for every human being. The integration of the shadow. The courage to face the truth of who we are. The willingness to look inward. The humility to admit our flaws and our vulnerability. But this is the very thing a narcissist fears most. Introspection feels like death to the ego. So they run. They blame. They escape. They build new illusions. They create new identities. They chase admiration and avoid authenticity. And in doing so, they remain disconnected from the self, the true center of the personality, the place where wholeness exists. For the partner of a narcissist, Jung's wisdom becomes a map for freedom. When you understand that the narcissist is projecting their shadow onto you, you begin to reclaim your own identity. You stop absorbing their guilt. You stop apologizing for things you did not do. You begin to see the difference between your emotions and theirs. Jung said that the key to individuation, becoming who you truly are, requires withdrawing your projections and not carrying the projections of others. When you do this, you reclaim your power. Another small engagement moment. If this is resonating with you, take a second to like this video. It helps more people find the healing they need. Let's go deeper into the Jungian understanding of narcissistic behavior. Jung believed that narcissists are disconnected from the unconscious. That means they are unable to access empathy in a genuine way, because empathy requires self-awareness. To feel for another, you must first understand your own emotions. But if your emotions are buried, denied, or distorted, you cannot meet others with emotional truth. Narcissists mimic empathy, but rarely embody it. They watch how people respond to emotional situations and imitate the behaviors that earn approval. It is learned empathy, not felt empathy. Another important Jungian idea is inflation. Inflation happens when the ego expands beyond its healthy boundaries. When a person becomes identified with a role, a talent, a status, or an idea of themselves, they lose connection to their grounded humanity. A narcissist is deeply inflated. They believe they are special, superior, chosen, or entitled, not because they truly believe it, but because they need it to survive psychologically. Inflation protects them from collapse. Without it, they would be forced to face their shame, and their entire identity would fall apart. Jung wrote, "We do not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." For someone trapped in narcissism, this darkness is unbearable. But for the person healing from narcissistic abuse, this quote becomes empowering. When you make the darkness conscious, when you reflect, when you journal, when you reconnect to your intuition, when you establish boundaries, you reclaim your light. You rise. It's also important to understand the concept of the psychic vampire from Jung's viewpoint. Narcissists take energy from others because they have no internal source of emotional nourishment. They drain because they cannot generate. They manipulate because they cannot connect. They demand because they cannot receive. Their inner world is underdeveloped, like a psychological desert. They survive by drawing life from the emotional richness of others. Jung believed that healing requires separation from the force that drains you. Only when the bond is cut can your psyche rebuild its inner structure. Only then can you reconnect to your own self, your own voice, your own truth. For those who have escaped a narcissistic relationship, Jung offers a final piece of wisdom. What you experienced was not a failure.